It's Saturday night. That means it's time for the Don Tony Show.
The wait all week long is finally over. Get Don Tony's perspective on current affairs in the world of pro wrestling and much more. The Don Tony Show.
And now your host, the man, the legend, Don Tony.
All right. You can meet Chelsea, my wife's dog. I am currently dog sitting, and in about an hour, I will be bird sitting for the next 8 days. So it's going to be chaos here. Bird sitting and dog sitting at the same time. You want to say hello to everybody? Hi. You want to say hello to everybody? Hi. Look over there. You see? All right. Yeah, time to go back. All right. Close the door on the way out. Thank you. I don't want anybody to think I was full of it.
That's Anthony's new girlfriend.
Yeah, close the door. That's because you... No, never mind. Close the door? No, just close the door. I wasn't going to say anything. Hey, how you doing, everyone? Yeah. Gabagool. How's everybody doing? Happy holidays. It is December 9th, 2023. Welcome to your latest edition of the Don Tony Show. I am Don Tony. As always, I want to thank you very much for joining me. Today's episode is going to be pretty simple. We are going to recap and review SmackDown a little bit. Remind a few people out there that it was a tribute to the Troops show, so those shows are a little bit simpler than usual weeks. Maybe not necessarily so much storyline development, although I think people were very, very happy with the CM Punk promo. We will actually revisit that promo. I will play it in a few minutes, the majority of it, and I will give you my thoughts on what he said, what he did not say, and why Jack Perry is not off limits, without saying his name. The last thing I think CM Punk and WWE wants to do is have the whole WWE universe learn who Jack Perry is. There's a lot of people who still don't. We're also going to talk about Charlotte's injury. I have footage of where she got injured. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there giving wrong news, saying that she blew out her knee from the moonsault to the outside of the ring. That's actually not what happened. I'm going to show you the video. Now I'll show it to you again in slow motion. And we are hoping that she hyperextended her knee, her leg, and it's not a full-blown tear. The interesting thing is when you watch it in real time, it looks 1,000 times worse than what it might be. But Charlotte Flair is injured right now. And I tell you, if she ends up on the shelf for an extended period of time, don't forget Andrade's contract is coming up very, very soon in AEW. The next time you see Charlotte back on TV, she may actually have her hubby with her. Wouldn't that be something to have like an Andrade, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins feud? Hell, I think some people wouldn't mind if AJ Lee comes back and we end up with CM Punk. A lot of couples could be going at it in 2024. We will see. Also, I got to tell you the truth. I was looking at the wrestlers who passed away in 2023. And, I started putting together pictorial tribute like we did last year. And, I don't have all the photos gathered as of yet. There's a lot more people passed away this year than you realize. But, I was any year that someone dies in wrestling is not a good year. It's sad, but we're all going to pass away sooner or later. And yes, some of my friends, some of my close friends have died over the years, and it's crushing. But as far as the wrestling world, putting personal friendships aside, I think 2023 has to go down as one of the worst or the saddest in history. I mean, and listen, You don't want to compare this person's passing to the emotional, feelings of fans when this person died. Some people died tragic. Some people die, natural causes. So you don't want to compare the emotional value of it. But I just gathered just a few names so far this year. And you look at Jerry Jarrett, you look at Butch from the Bushwhackers, General Adnan passed away this year. Robbie Rage, very, very kind man. He deserves to be acknowledged. Lanny Poffo, Leaping Lanny Poffo. Brian Dixon, very, very famous overseas in the world of pro wrestling. Russ Francis died in a plane crash. Exotic Adrian Street passed away. And then you get, some of the more household names. Draws passed away this year. Jay Briscoe, that horrible car accident. Superstar Billy Graham, one of the greatest of all time. The Iron Sheik, Zumith, and Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk. My favorite wrestler of all time and my favorite wrestler in the last 10 years, both gone within a week. So you look back at 2023, it's got to be up there, one of the worst. Seriously, we're not done yet. We still have a few weeks left in 2023, and, it's just sobering. It's sobering. Appreciate, the fact that some of our favorites, even legendaries, that's why, you kind of want to let up on Ric Flair a little bit, because realistically, so many people think 5 years from now, it could be a much different situation. It does not exonerate past behavior and, things that people have done indiscretions. But still, you don't ever want to see somebody go, So I just figured I could pile that list. And here's something else, not to start off with doom and gloom, but something that I did not even realize. Bray Wyatt, JoJo posted last week that they were supposed to be getting married last week. She wrote a few days ago, tomorrow would have been our wedding. I'm every bit broken and lost without you, Wyndham. The kids and I really miss you. We wish you were here. I love you forever. Just really, really sad that last week would have been their wedding. Just awful. And, I know it sounds harsh, but I'm one of the only few people that said it, and I'll continue saying it because sometimes reality sucks and sometimes truth hurts. But I truly believe that man's death was preventable. He had the same mindset that my dad does, has the same mindset like a lot of you have, that toughness. It's almost like, not an ego, so to speak, but that toughness, like, nah, I feel good. I'm good. I don't need this. I feel great. I did. And unfortunately, we don't have a monitor that could track every little thing about our body 24/7, 365. And when you hear that life vest was in his car instead of on his back and his chest, that could have saved his life. Just a lot of people don't want to go there, but still, just awful, But, I hope he is resting in peace. I hope everybody that I just showed you is resting in peace. Iron Sheik is probably causing chaos up there. Let's be honest. Superstar Billy Graham's probably complaining about something. But, and I say that lightheartedly. Hey, some breaking news, everyone. I can't believe we even have to bring this up, but breaking news. Brock Lesnar's daughter looks just like Brock Lesnar. I mean, why? Because she doesn't look like Tiffany Stratton. Why? Because she doesn't have her makeup on. If you Google Brock Lesnar's daughter, who just set records, I think it was shot put. What was it? Shot put? Yeah, shot put. I always say shot put. Shot put. She looks like him. And I'm seeing this horrible vibe online. Breaking news, Brock Lesnar's kids look like Brock, and they're kicking ass and they're excelling in the sports world, and that is a cool thing. That is a very cool thing. Some other wrestling news. Don't worry, guys. If they keep reporting it, it'll ultimately happen. Let me pull up who I'm talking about because I purposely put a picture aside. Where are you? The journalist gods are trying to prevent me from showing you the picture. I definitely saved it. Where are you? Oh, here you are. 3 weeks in a row, all these journalists are reporting that AJ Styles will be back this Friday on SmackDown. And for 3 weeks in a row, it hasn't happened. Don't worry, guys. Report it this week, too. That'll be on next Friday SmackDown. Sooner or later, it'll happen. They're just rolling the dice. You had some people saying that CM Punk was going to hit the GTS to AJ Styles and start a feud. That's where fantasy gaming, infiltrates the brain and you start thinking that it's real, forgetting to take off the virtual glasses. But AJ Styles is on the cusp of returning. He is healed. The Royal Rumble is not that far away. Maybe you wait until the Royal Rumble and you surprise us with his return. We want surprises in the Royal Rumble. Some surprises are going to be smaller than others. Hey, could Mercedes Moné return at the Royal Rumble? I am convinced that 2024, Mercedes Moné will be back in the WWE. This is not the WWE that she left. Vince McMahon doesn't have the power he used to, doesn't have the ownership like he used to. John Laurinaitis is gone. Triple H has been given the ball by TKO Group Holdings. I think a lot of people still forget that TKO Group Holdings is the one that signs the checks. And they still have this mindset that, WWE has not talked to Drew McIntyre as of yet. No, it's TKO Group Holdings. And they are still consolidating the two corporations. See, this is not like the Brady Bunch, where you move out of your house and you marry someone with kids and then you move into the house and now you got 2 sets of couches, so you put it on Craigslist and in a matter of a month you either throw out or you get rid of the excess furniture that you don't need anymore, or maybe you take over an office or you move into a bigger office and you merge with someone else and you kind of have like a couple of extra desks and a couple of extra employees and like, hey, sorry, we got to let you go. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees that have to be let go. And TKO Group Holdings has no right before the merger to go into WWE's offices in Stamford, Connecticut and start evaluating people beforehand. You can't do that. They have no authorization, no power to do that. Once the merger is complete, now you look at the payroll, the WWE employees, you look at TKO and you say, okay, which offices, which positions do we only need 1 of instead of 2? Which departments do we need 10 of instead of 25? And it's not an overnight, this is not a video game where you're in GM mode. So people are still being let go to this day. And guess what? Here's a little tidbit of news. Shawn Michaels, now look, I got this from somebody directly in Florida, and you know me. If I say sausage, I'm fucking around, and we're just satiring and mocking some journalists out there. But when someone tells me straight out something, I will share it with you. I don't post breaking news on a Twitter or website. I tell you here. But McKenzie Mitchell, she was let go last week. And this was a big surprise by a lot of people out there. Very, very well liked, not controversial, no issues whatsoever. Why was she let go? And if you remember last week, I had told you that she apparently was let go because she was expendable. TKO Group Holdings felt that they did not need her in that position. And Sarah Schreiber is one of the ones being considered to fill that role. Another person being considered to fill that role periodically is Jackie Redmond. They have a plethora of people there. It was just a matter of who do you let go? You're not going to just keep an extra $100,000. I'm not saying she got paid $100,000, but you're not going to keep an extra $100,000 or $200,000 because you're a 10, 20, $30 billion company. This is not Tony. Keep him aboard. It's not going to affect you. Raise the ticket prices 2 cents. That's not the way it works in a publicly traded company. Shawn Michaels was asked about McKenzie Mitchell hyping up this weekend's Deadline. And he said that McKenzie will always be part of the NXT family. It obviously took me by surprise. My understanding, most important, my understanding is that there are some areas where we have overlapping jobs, and there were going to be changes. There are a lot of things that go on in this company that are way above me. This was obviously one of them. Like we always say, the door is always open to the WWE. I think that, in my opinion, McKenzie will always be part of the NXT family, and it doesn't mean we can't revisit that relationship down the road. Obviously, McKenzie being released is a loss to all of us in NXT, but the machine as always has to continue and roll on, and we obviously do that, and we miss her greatly because everyone, absolutely everyone, loves and adores McKenzie. Pretty much echoed what I was told last week. Very, very well liked. Is she high on the food chain? No. And unfortunately, she was the one that TKO Group Holdings felt was the most expendable. Hopefully she gets a job back. You look at Kathy Kelly. This was obviously different because, this was, before the merger. This was a couple of years ago, and they just, went separate ways. I think back then that was more Kathy Kelly's decision than anything else. But Kathy Kelly wanted a return sooner than WWE brought her back. It's just that it wasn't the right time. Now she's back, and not only is she fit like a glove, but she is one of the most appreciated. And it's not because of how beautiful she is and the outfits. I'm sure that helps. But, she's just well liked. There's nothing bad about her, that would rub anybody the wrong way there. She's approachable. She's friendly. And everything was said the same way about McKenzie Mitchell. So best wishes go out to McKenzie Mitchell. How'd you like that CM Punk promo on SmackDown? A couple of things. I get it. What we got on Raw was, if that would have been the beginning of Raw last week, I don't think people would have complained as much. The problem is they waited 2 hours and 55 minutes to have CM Punk say, "I love you guys, I'm back," blah, 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 blah. It didn't have the spice. It didn't have the meat. But I will say this, anybody that has said the last 24 hours, that's what he should have said last Monday, boy, do I not want you to be running my wrestling company. You cannot assume that all the little kids in the crowd, that the fans are in attendance at WWE, have been watching WWE for the last 10 years, that have been watching AEW. There are a lot of people who know who CM Punk is, but never have followed CM Punk, never experienced his WWE run. CM Punk came back, and he needs at least one night to say, "I am back." The problem is that people out there, remember what Kevin and I said on last Tuesday's show, they got to grab the popcorn, and CM Punk has got to put people under the mud. We even used the mud term reference last week, and CM Punk said, "I got a lot of mud underneath my shoes" yesterday on SmackDown. But he needed a reintroduction. Say hello. I'm back. I miss you guys. I'm home. What are you supposed to say? This is the only home that I have left. He's got to pander and kiss up. You reintroduce him. You let him in the door. You dust your shoes off. You say hello to everyone. Then the next time around, you go balls out. You make your agenda. That's what you do. What people need to understand. This is what people need to understand. When I replay CM Punk's promo from SmackDown in a few minutes, and I show you some screenshots while CM Punk is cutting this promo, I want you to pay very, very close attention of something at Survivor Series, something on Raw, and yesterday on SmackDown. It's 3 times now, something that a lot of people out there don't realize or don't want to accept. The people out there that want CM Punk to cut pipe bombs and throw shade on the Elite, Tony Khan, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, whether directly or indirectly, that's all anger. That is tension. that is negativity. Since CM Punk has been back, whether it's Survivor Series, where he didn't say a word, or on Raw, where he said he's home, or yesterday on SmackDown, as far as him in the WWE, it is not the negative vibe. When he opened his mouth yesterday and mentioned the Royal Rumble, main eventing WrestleMania, which is his story he wants to finish because he never got that opportunity, calling out Seth Rollins, calling out Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, even though he was very serious, taking a little shot at Seth Rollins because that's the match we're building to. That tension has to be there. Roman Reigns could be a match next year that a lot of people are reporting. My sources tell me that WWE is absolutely considered. No, they don't have no sources. They're just thinking like a wrestling fan, like common sense that should happen. But the thing is, CM Punk back is a positive. And I brought this up earlier this week, and I'm not going to start running tantrums here. But when WWE touted the number of social media views that CM Punk got, the fans' reaction to CM Punk's return, did you notice what they focused on? People celebrating, smiling, crying at times, cheering, holy shit, ecstatic, happiness. You didn't see them focus once. Motherfucker, this guy is back. Son of a bitch. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. They didn't show that. And that's not what WWE wants this to be. CM Punk, when he showed up in AEW, there were elements of CM Punk that sounded militant. Would I be wrong by saying that? A little bit militant. Maybe bridges that were hurt and destroyed, and he wanted to not rebuild those bridges, but make AEW better as a way to numb the pain and the disrespect that he was given years earlier. That's the difference. So when people are like, that's what he should have said last Monday on Raw. No, because you want to set the tone of why CM Punk is back. He's not back to turn a WWE upside down and an outsider. They're not going the outsider route. When Seth Rollins finally has the confrontation with CM Punk, Seth Rollins is going to bring up 10 years ago. Seth Rollins is going to indirectly bring up that he has said nothing but disparaging things about the WWE since he was gone. I wouldn't be surprised if we see early on a little interaction with CM Punk and The Miz to try to clear that up a little bit. I almost will bet the ranch within the next 2 weeks, you see a backstage segment where The Miz bumps into CM Punk. And because The Miz is playing babyface right now, there'll be a handshake. I guarantee you. So I loved the promo yesterday. Was it a pipe bomb? No. The goal of his promo yesterday was to tease, should I sign with SmackDown? Should I sign with Raw? He's obviously signing with Raw. It's not even a question. Little name drop to NXT is cool because Shawn Michaels has been showing a lot of love to CM Punk even before he returned. So that was pretty cool. Also, to remind everyone that, down the line, he may end up going at it with Roman Reigns. He's not a fan of Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. He has respect, but there's a lot of Samoans, in that family, like he said yesterday. Seth Rollins, he didn't even mention his name. Seth didn't even mention his name. All he said was that, I'm not even going to acknowledge him. He's not even the man in the family. Be funny if Becky Lynch confronts CM Punk before Seth Rollins confronts CM Punk. But the idea is, when people are like, Seth is angry at the CM Punk chants, are you kidding me? Seth wants those CM Punk chants to be as loud as possible when he is in that ring. Why? Because the louder those CM Punk chants are while Seth is in the ring, the louder Seth's being serenaded by the fans when CM Punk is in that ring. That means the fans are invested more and more and more when they main event night one of WrestleMania 40. That's why you separate some people online, with all due respect. I see podcasters with 5 times the number of people that tune in compared to me, and they actually thought that Finn Balor was legit frustrated that the fans wouldn't shut up and stop serenading Seth Rollins when they were having their feud in the ring. Are you fucking kidding me? Seth Rollins knows his cue when to stop the WWE Universe. He stood there and soaked it in and soaked it in and soaked it in because Finn Balor's job is to be visibly frustrated. The fans are trying to get under their skin. That's what wrestling is supposed to do. They're supposed to do that. And when Seth says, thank you guys, that's when the fans know, okay, now you bring it down a little bit. That's what this is going on. There is no frustration. Listen, is there legit tension between Seth Rollins and CM Punk? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think they have had a kumbaya moment where they have actually met and maybe went to Texas Roadhouse and ate a steak and talked about things and ironed it out. But wrestling is an art form. It's a business. This is their world. And they realize that making money, making history, and making a legacy is more important than some little fucking goofy-haired looking freak that's an orphan that, you know, in the biggest stage of AEW in the history of wrestling, performing in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley, that he, instead of like, oh my God, I'm like I'm the beginning of history here. Look at this, the biggest event of all time. And all he could think in the back of his mind was either I have to take a leak and I have to hold it in, or I can't wait to use that fucking windshield. And I'm going to, in front of everyone, I'm going to rub it back in CM Punk's face for not letting me use glass on Collision. That is a petulant child. That is a baby. I don't know why Bryan Danielson and that committee, now, I've said this 1,000 times over. Bryan Danielson on a committee leading to the release of CM Punk, I respect it 100%. Bryan Danielson, if I had to choose anybody in that AEW roster to represent the roster, Bryan Danielson would be at the top of my list. But I'm a little baffled why they didn't let Jack Perry go. They could have fired Jack Perry at the same time to set the tone. And we ain't taking this shit on either side. You set the tone. You set the tone. And then 4 or 5 months later, guess what? You could have right now the elite media Meltzer that AEW is considering bringing Jack Perry back. And you know what would have happened? People have been like, you know what? CM Punk is back on TV. Why can't Jack Perry be back on TV? AEW, hire him back. That's what they should have done. Jack Perry should have been fired right when that happened, along with CM Punk. We ain't taking the shit, period. Because if Jack Perry didn't say what he said, if he didn't fucking do the glass spot and rub it in CM Punk's face, CM Punk is wrong for hitting Jack Perry. Remember what I said? He blew it. But they just suspended him. Just like they suspended, someone else who made the R word, or was discovered, made the R word remark towards a women's wrestler. And a lot of other things. By now, Jack Perry, if he would have been fired at that time, could be brought back in AEW, and the majority of people would be like, you know what, CM Punk is back on TV, why not? And that would have been the easy way to resolve it. So, all right. So, CM Punk yesterday cuts his promo. I'll say one more thing before we revisit it now. The crowd reaction to when CM Punk made this statement. He was talking about Kevin Owens. Now, remember recently, Kevin Owens has been punching out Austin Theory and Grayson Waller in the back. And CM Punk, not only did he say it yesterday, but WWE retweeted it, because WWE can be a little bit, snide as well. CM Punk says, and I quote yesterday, I don't know who would feel comfortable working with somebody who randomly just punches people in the face backstage. Kevin Owens, you can't be doing that. And obviously, he was talking about what he did to Jack Perry. Crowd reaction was mild. Why? Because there is a boatload of people that were in that crowd yesterday that are military, that don't watch wrestling on a regular basis. There's a lot of people in the crowd that are kids, that don't follow what happened with CM Punk and Jack Perry. The reaction was, warm. That's because they're not the internet wrestling community, You know, you think, and we talk about it a lot of times with Bianca Belair and others. If you pay attention to social media, Bianca Belair is stale. She's not over. She's this, she's that. They'll talk about it with Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, oh, she sucks. Why is she in this? Why is she always getting a title shot? And then you listen to the live crowd and the reaction is totally different. That's because there are people online, with all due respect, that have no life. That not only do they watch wrestling every minute of every hour of every day, but they have to tweet 880 times about it, and they write whatever they can to get 880,000 responses back, or likes or retweets or interactions. This is, they're not calling that. This is not 20 years ago where you call your friend on the phone. Holy shit, do you see what's going on TV right now? Yeah, that's only one person. One person? That's only one person. Nah, I go on social media. I'll write, hey, Charlotte just farted. You know, oh my God, did you see that person? They write about everything that suits their narrative, and they have every right to do so, but they are not the majority. But sometimes it feels like the majority because they're the ones that flood social media with comments over and over and over and over. I don't comment much during the shows. I watch it. I take it in. I enjoy it. I let it sink in. And when I do recaps, I don't even have notes. I don't need notes because I actually watched it instead of going on social media. Did you hear what the crowd was lukewarm? All right. So before we visit CM Punk's promo, because I know most of you heard it already, let's talk for a moment about Charlotte Flair's injury, because I have footage that I'm sure within the next 24 to 48 hours, everybody will have it. But yesterday on SmackDown, Asuka was taking on Charlotte Flair. Now, at the beginning of the match, right before the beginning of the match, everybody told Bayley, stay in the back. Bayley didn't listen. Didn't backfire, but she didn't listen. That will ultimately be Bayley's demise because Bayley will keep going out there when asked not to, and she does help. She helped last week. She helps now. She's not going to help in the future. If something's going to backfire, we told you not to go out there. And then she'll be set up. And then the Japanese Yakuza will do a number on Bayley. That's it. They're not going to just say, Bayley, we just can't have you anymore. We're sorry, but you have to go. And you have Bayley walking away like a puppy that just got thrown out of its house. And the puppy turns around with the sad eyes. And you slam the door on the puppy's face. No, they're going to beat the shit out of Bayley. Bayley's going to get a beating. But the thing is, we lead into the Royal Rumble. We'll see if Mercedes Moné is going to come back, if she's healthy enough to come back. You know, does Bayley reunite with some of her four horsemen? I got to be careful. If I get tongue-tied, you kind of say the horsemen. So Bayley's supposed to be in the back. Io Sky and Kairi Sane come out. Obviously, Dakota Kai cannot get physically involved as of yet. And as they come out to the rampway, here's Michin and Zelina Vega getting a little bit of TV time. And remember, they were the ones taken out, so they couldn't be at War Games. So they're attacking Kairi Sane and Io Sky, and you know they're retreating. And as they're retreating, here comes Shotzi and Bianca. And so Io and Kairi have nowhere to go. And the brawl was kind of goofy because you got 4 women on 2, so you know it gets a little comedic. But the idea was to neutralize Kairi Sane and Io Sky, that they couldn't be at ringside. So we have the match, and ultimately towards the end of the match, Bayley comes out and she tries to distract Charlotte Flair, and then Asuka goes to hit Charlotte with a move. Charlotte gets out of dodge. Asuka almost hits Bayley, but then Charlotte knocks Bayley off the apron, and then Asuka rolls up Charlotte for the win. Very clunky, you know, not, you know, the best finish to the match, but there was a serious reason behind it. After the match was over, Charlotte Flair had to be helped out of the building. Like I said, I have video footage, so I will show you in a moment. But Charlotte Flair, before this flurry involving Bayley, she was in the ring on the mat with a face down for an extended period of time. And during the commercial break, something happened. And when we came back from commercial, JBL, who was guest on commentary because it was tribute to the troops and he wanted to be there, he was on guest commentary and they were talking about, slip and a fall. And sometimes, and they were hoping that Charlotte was okay. Charlotte had her head face down on the mat talking to the referee for a good 10 seconds. And that may not sound like a long time, but it is. And Charlotte had to have told the referee, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish this. So that was Bayley's cue to hit the side of the ring. And when Charlotte went up to Bayley, Charlotte looked like she was in tears. And she had to knock Bayley off of that rope. And she put as much weight as she could on her knee and knocked Bayley off. So once the match ended, we immediately cut from the ring. We didn't hear nothing after that. But thanks to people with their camera phones, we have footage of what happened. Now, again, there's a lot of people online that want to convince you that it was the moonsault to the outside of the ring, which it was not. I'm going to show it to you in full speed, and then I will show it to you in slow motion. As you will see, Asuka climbs the rope. Charlotte is already sitting on the rope, and it looks like it was supposed to be a Spanish fly. You know the Spanish fly when both jump off. But the ropes, as JBL said, sometimes they get slippery, sweat, whatever reason, and Charlotte slipped. And like I said, in full speed, it looks, to me, much scarier than hopefully it may be. This is what happened in full speed. Watch Charlotte's leg. Watch her right leg. Right now. Watch this. You see that whip back? It looked, I'm telling you, it looked brutal. Let me see if I could get straight to that part. Let me see if I could get straight to that part. Yeah. Just watch her leg snap back, and I'll show you again. Watch. You saw her leg. So now I'm going to show it to you in slow motion. And if you watch her right leg, to me, I'm hoping that it was hyperextended, which sucks still. But watch her leg. She slips. And when she goes over, her leg not only whips back, but it fucking whips. The fact that she could do splits might actually, hopefully prevent. Watch this. Watch her leg. Watch right now. See how, and it landed, her foot landed really hard on that mat. So that is the spot where she injured herself. The fact that she could do splits, hopefully nothing was torn. But when she went over that rope and her leg went like that, let's hope it's a hyperextended. Why do I hear a smoke detector? Why is there a smoke detector going off? It just stopped. It's getting hot in here, so let me take off all my clothes. So we wish the best for Charlotte. We will have an update soon. Remember Bayley, not too long ago, had a scare at a house show, and everybody thought the worst. She blew out her knee. Wait until the facts come in. And Bayley ended up being okay. So Charlotte had to be helped off, and, we wish her the best. I'll have an update as soon as we get one. All right. Later on, I got some TNA news that you'll probably get a kick out of. Very, very interesting what TNA is going to be doing in January involving their streaming service. I think there's something bigger going on with TNA and maybe WWE. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I got a couple of SEC filing screenshots that I want to show you that will make this a little bit more interesting than what it is. So, just very quickly before we get into the Punk promo, I want to just get into two very quick things. This has to do with the tournament to determine the new number one contender for Logan Paul's United States Championship. As I told you last Saturday, Kevin Owens was still in this tournament. People saying that he...
There was no smoke alarm.
I thought that was a smoke alarm.
You know what it was? It was a YouTuber left it on so Chelsea could watch TV as him in the back.
Oh, so YouTube was playing a smoke alarm?
That's how loud it is.
Yeah, okay. She was watching YouTube videos at a smoke alarm. Yeah, she was watching YouTube videos and the smoke alarm went off. That's how loud it was. Hey, that's good. At least I know my house is not on fire. So, as I told you last week, Kevin Owens was not being removed from this tournament. The reason why they did the broken hand storyline is so when Logan Paul does face Kevin Owens is not 100%. Kevin Owens will not be able to knock Logan Paul out. And Logan Paul will likely retain the championship and Kevin Owens will not be 100%. That is kind of to like even the playing field a little bit. That's all it was. All the clickbait. It was BS. But yesterday we did have 2 tournament matches. One of them was Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar. And the other one was Karrion Kross versus Bobby Lashley. Now, a couple of interesting things coming out of this. First off, Dragon Lee lost yesterday to Santos Escobar. And honestly, don't read much into that. Because, yes, Santos Escobar did defeat Dragon Lee. And a lot of people are like, you know what? Dragon Lee lost twice now to Santos Escobar. Have no worries, everyone. I am pretty convinced Dragon Lee is going to beat Dominik Mysterio tonight at Deadline. And as a result, the fact that Dragon Lee took that belt away from Dominik Mysterio, that will be the discussion. You will not have any goofs out there. Yeah, but he lost 2 matches in a row to Santos. I can't buy it. Yesterday, Dominik Mysterio, after the match was over, spit on Dragon Lee. And that was emphasized by the commentators and social media. That is the last impression. Dominik Mysterio spit on Dragon Lee. And, I spit on the wrestlers who I don't think are cool. Should Carlito feud with Dominik? I'm the only one that's allowed to spit on people with the apple. By the way, Carlito, I wonder, will Carlito show up at Deadline tonight to cause Dominik the win? I kind of think so. The problem is, there's a problem with that. Carlito is on SmackDown. Dominik is on Raw. Carlito would not be able to feud with Dominik unless Carlito next week has to deal with Santos Escobar on behalf of Dominik, because I wonder if Dominik Mysterio, once they disband the Judgment Day, this is something you and I talked about probably like 8 months ago. Remember when I said, would Dominik Mysterio end up forming his own version of the LWO? Almost like a heel version of it. And then we had some fun and we said, hopefully it's not like NWO black and white and NWO red and black. But something I found interesting, I don't know if you picked up on it. What you see on your screen right now is the actual graphic that WWE put out for the tournament yesterday. Why do they have Santos Escobar still wearing an LWO shirt? Something I noticed. Just saying. Something I noticed. But Santos beat Dragon Lee yesterday to advance. But Dragon Lee, he beats Dominik today. All is forgiven. All is forgotten. Something else yesterday. We had the return of Karrion Kross to SmackDown, and I saw right before we went live, somebody sent me a super shout out regarding Karrion Kross, so I will answer your question in a moment. Karrion Kross took on Bobby Lashley. Karrion Kross got the full-blown intro to the ring with Scarlett. Black and white, song, everything. Interesting is that they were halfway down the ring and it was still an instrumental. And although I love Scarlett singing in this, I kind of dig the instrumental more. I don't know if any of you thought about that, but I kind of dig Karrion Kross's song as an instrumental. It just sounds, because you focus on the music. And not only that, I don't know if anybody notices, but when you hear Scarlett on the song, when it's portrayed on TV, her volume seems a little bit lower than it should. Like her volume almost sounds like it's in the background, if you ever listen to it. But yesterday, Bobby Lashley got the win. He defeated Karrion Kross, rolled him up. You know, now Karrion Kross, look, I'll answer the question that somebody sent in a moment. But here's the thing. And I'm not just saying this to defend Karrion Kross, but let me talk about Bobby Lashley first. The damage that WWE Creative did to Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits the last couple of months, I think is now on the road to repair. I think WWE realized nobody wants Montez Ford as a heel. People respect and appreciate Bobby Lashley, and you best damn believe, tribute to the troops, they were going to make sure that you knew Bobby Lashley had a military background. You had Montez Ford cut a backstage promo talking about being in the military like 10 years ago, whatever it was, and showing love. And they made sure yesterday that Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits were going to get respect for that military background. And, you know, when you had Cody Rhodes, check this out, and Cody Rhodes ties into all of this. When you had Cody Rhodes come out earlier in the night, and he's cutting a promo for the troops, for USA, you know, that's really what the focus was. And I loved this screenshot because as I watched that screenshot, I saw, you know, people online, oh, this SmackDown, you know, it kind of sucks. You know, it's not that great. And I'm like, do you forget it's tribute to the troops? I know. Why? Because they're not in Afghanistan, because you don't see deserts behind them, because you don't hear explosions, that it isn't the same. This was designed that most of the people in attendance were either military or family of military. And this show was supposed to be holiday, lighthearted, you know, more feel good than anything else, if you really think about it. And that's what it was about. It was about, you know, a night that you show a little bit of love and appreciation for our military. We had some guest commentators doing commentating. I think somebody who's going to do the Army and Navy football game, I believe it is. I can't remember his name right now. But Cody not only is standing in front of military, but then they bring out the U.S. drill team. And these two guys with these fucking rifles, I can't even do that. Like if you ever, you know, the water guns, you know, a water gun, you put your finger like inside, like where the trigger is, and you go like this and you could spin it around. Like, look, everyone, I'm talented. I couldn't even do that. These guys, I mean, if they had like medals for synchronized, like whatever they were doing, it was unbelievable. And I loved it because the crowd got into it. Fuck you to social media. We're putting Z's during the segment. And there was some people that, you know, that I'm friends with that were doing that. Fuck you. But there's more. There was a backstage segment with those guys. And I think it might have been Kathy Kelly with them. And Bobby Lashley was involved with it. And I'm going to share it with you, because this sets the tone, Bobby Lashley going forward. Then we'll talk about Karrion Kross. Then we'll get into the CM Punk promo. But this was last night backstage with Bobby Lashley.
I'm joined by the United States Army drill team who just performed in front of that crowd. How did that feel, you guys?
That was incredible. The energy from the crowd was just electric, and that was the coolest performance we've done.
Can you guys show me a little bit of it?
Absolutely. These guys spin their rifles, their 10-pound rifles. If you want to do a quick couple sevens or something like that. These guys are spinning 10-pound 1903 Springfield rifles. So these guys practice all day, Monday through Friday, for 4 to 6 hours a day, so that they're able to do this, so that we're able to travel around the country and represent the United States Army and the discipline and excellence of all the United States soldiers that we have.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Looking very on point.
Yeah, these guys are absolutely the best at what they do. Good job, guys. This is Specialist Smith and Specialist Erickson of the United States Army Drill Team.
And then tell me, performing out there in front of the troops, how was that for you two?
Honestly, just the opportunity to be able to do this was amazing.
Just being able to represent what we do to the whole world, and especially the WWE, it's a real, I like it.
Well, I know several of the superstars very impressed.
But I just got to shake you guys' hand because that was incredible what you guys did out there. And of course, I pay mad respects to anybody in the service. And being a former Army, I mean, I have kudos to you guys. Thank you guys for coming here. And like we said, with us, WWE is strong supporters of the military. So anything that we can ever do for you guys, just reach out. You can hit me up personally or anybody here in WWE. We're always there for you guys.
I just want to say, as a fellow service member and a former drill team member as well, thank you so much for everything you do. It's impressive. I'm pretty sure Bobby said everything, but good looking tonight, as always. Happy holidays, and God bless you guys. You know what I'm saying? Taking the time out and just showing the world what you guys do best. So.
Thank you for your service, and thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you for having us. This was incredible.
Yeah.
Hey, let's do this.
Can you hold my mic?
Yeah. Yo, now Kathy Kelly.
I don't think they're looking at Kathy Kelly's gun, with all due respect.
Oh, you got it. You got the strength. She got the strength. Yeah. Oh, you got it.
It's not loaded.
You got it.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Is it just me? I'll go there. Is it just me? But does Brian Pillman Jr.'s colored beard kind of look like Kathy Kelly's chest? I got to see if, you know what? I know this is a little bit unprofessional, but if I don't do it, I will definitely be angry at myself later on. I got to download a picture of Lexis King and show you what I'm talking about. Oh, come on. There's something quick has got to come up. Oh, all these old photos. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's not coming up. I'll show you on the next show. If you ever look at Lexis King's, the way he does his, I'm telling you, it looks like a pair of tits. Being honest. Hey, in the very near future, next week or so, I got some announcements coming up with regards to some changes to the shows in 2024. There's going to be some tweaking. One show I know is definitely going a ways, but another 2 shows are going to be condensed into one. And something may be happening on a special night during the week. I don't want to jump the gun and say what any of it will be, but there's definitely going to be some things changing in 2024. If anybody remembers Mixlr, get reintroduced to it. It will be coming back to a certain capacity, but in the very near future, once I can make all the announcements, I will. So, yeah, some people say Lexis King's beard looks like the Batman symbol. See, you see a Batman symbol, to me, it looks like, small set of tits. I'm telling you. I'm mad because I looked online just now. Maybe if I go to Twitter, I can find a better picture of it. Actually, you know what? If I go on Lexis King's social media, I probably could find 1, 2, 3. I'm going to be mad. Okay, I found a good one. This one's a good one. Please let it not be WEPP file format. Those formats suck. Here. This will not be in a synopsis, but tell me I'm wrong. We just saw, tell me it doesn't look like a pair of droopy tits. You see the Batman signal. I see a set of tits. I'm telling you, right? Come on. You looked at, listen, she wears the blouse. She's an attractive woman. I say it lightheartedly, but if you really look, let me show everybody again without playing it. All right, hold on. Here. Let me see if I can fit. Okay. You're trying to tell me that does not look like Lexis King? Come on. All you need is a blouse underneath his thing. All right. Hopefully some people got a good laugh out of it. There's always going to be somebody that's going to get upset by it, but I don't really care. You know how many people I triggered because of this? You remember this on Monday? Cody, we suffer the same humiliation. Cody, we suffer same humiliation. So I decided, let's do a cute little thumbnail. Tony, we suffered the same humiliation. And people got angry at it. It's the same thing. Recommendation. Randy Orton was on Logan Paul's Impulsive. Excellent. We'll talk about it a little bit more on Monday. He talked about his injury, talked about everything, and even showed a little bit of love to Matt Riddle, and Sportskeeda took this quote, so they get credit for it. The good guys that are there, because they got good guys and they got shit guys there. We know that. He says about Matt Riddle, I have to give Matt Riddle props because that year we tagged together. I was not able to be in the ring unless I was in there with someone like him. He was able to take the brunt of the physicality. He tagged me in. I come in. I do my shit. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have made it that far. Showed nothing but love for Matt Riddle. By the way, I heard Matt Riddle and the former Dolph Ziggler will be wrestling right after the new year for an indie show. So I don't have all the details as of yet, but I heard that they are going to be wrestling each other. So, Matt Riddle is going to be active again in wrestling. And then don't forget, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have that devil reveal. Who knows what it's going to be, but, I apparently got a whole bunch of people talking because, I think Swerve Strickland could very well end up being the leader, could be revealed as the devil. And I also think there's a possibility Britt Baker might be involved with this. I think somebody that was released by the WWE will be involved with this. I think there's going to be an alliance of people that are getting together to destroy MJF and to get him out of the company. And then we lead to 2024, and it's revealed that MJF stays in AEW so he can form his own group. The Acclaimed will probably be back in the ring by then. Who knows? You might see enemies aligning with each other. You might see Kenny Omega and MJF. You might see MJF and Jay White. You're going to see, I think this is the only payoff of that devil storyline. There has to be a faction, and it's going to be involved all the people that despise MJF. The only question is, does Samoa Joe become the next champion? It's possible, very possible. If MJF needs to take time off for surgery because we know about that tear, which I don't think he will, but if he does, you're not taking it off of him right now. He could end up losing it at World's End. We'll see what happens, but definitely check out Randy Orton on Logan Paul's podcast. Really, really good. So let's talk a little CM Punk. Let's revisit yesterday a little bit. And then we'll get into the main event, Randy Orton, LA Knight, and where that's going. Roman Reigns will be back next week. And Roman, we got to see if they set up him and Randy Orton as a possible match in the very near future. Roman will be on next week, 2 weeks after that, and 2 weeks after that. So it's every other week for the next 3. And then by then, you're now getting into Royal Rumble territory. So something will be going down there. But let's get into, obviously, the big talk from yesterday. He got 15 minutes with his intro. Can't play his intro. We don't want copyright issues here. But CM Punk, at the top of the hour, you didn't have to wait to the end, which was great. The top of the hour, he came out there. Big appreciation from the fans. I'm not going to play the very open because the very open he was teasing, should he sign with SmackDown? I can't hear you. Should he sign with Raw? And then he got into, how many of you out there want to see me throw 29 other men over the top rope and main event at WrestleMania? So, here's the interesting thing about it. Cody Rhodes is finishing the story. We don't know if Cody's winning the Royal Rumble, or if Cody's going to win the Elimination Chamber, or they do something else and Cody gets the rematch against Roman Reigns. He hasn't gotten his rematch. So we don't know what Cody is going to win. Most people bet on Cody winning the Royal Rumble. What if CM Punk wins the Rumble? The reason why I don't see that happening is because I don't see Seth Rollins being world champion when CM Punk challenges him. I think Seth Rollins will no longer be world heavyweight champion by WrestleMania. So if CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble and he challenges the champion at WrestleMania, he ain't challenging Drew McIntyre. He ain't challenging Roman Reigns. Don't worry, everyone. As we get closer, CM Punk, word goes around that WWE's considering having CM Punk win the Royal Rumble and somehow turn Cody versus Roman versus Punk, you know, because they can't bring up The Rock anymore. But CM Punk, you know, addressing storyline, and in the process takes a little tongue-in-cheek jab at Jack Perry. Not Tony Khan, not AEW, no sloppy shop, no Elite, no Young Bucks, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, just his actions backstage hitting the Jerry Curl guy. So here's CM Punk from yesterday. Like I said, this is the majority of what he had to say. And where are you? Let me pull it up. Yeah, where are you? Okay, I got it. Here we go.
Do you want me to throw 29 other superstars over the top rope and then climb this turnbuckle and point at a sign in main event WrestleMania? An old friend of mine that welcomed me back home with open arms famously likes to come out here and say, "What do you guys want to talk about?" And I'm famous for talking. It's kind of what I do, but I also have been listening. And I hear there's a few people that are a little bit upset. They don't like the happy-go-lucky CM Punk. They don't like the CM Punk that says, "Hey, I love you guys. I'm home, and I'm glad to be home." So I listen, and I hear, and I understand that. So allow me to turn this up to 11. Allow me to be that spicy CM Punk you all know and love. Allow me to get comfortable at home. This is me putting my feet up on the couch, and my feet got a lot of mud all over them, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not, what do y'all want to talk about? It's, who do you want me to talk about? Do you want me to talk about Cody Rhodes? I could tell you some stories. Or do you want me to talk about somebody who's not here? By the sounds of it, somebody who's never here. Roman Reigns. Tribal Chief, I acknowledge you. Congratulations on all your success. Don't forget who the OG Paul Heyman guy is. Don't forget that he was my wise man first. Now, Roman might not be here, but his cousins are. Solo, big tough son of a gun that I don't know, but I'm familiar with his cousin, Jimmy Uso. By the way, shout out to main event Jey Uso, who's over on Monday Night Raw. I see you, Uso. These are the things that I have to wrestle with Do I want to go to Monday Night Raw and hang out with Jey Uso? Or do I want to stay here on SmackDown and scrap with Jimmy Uso? But if I scrap with Jimmy Uso, holy gosh, he's got a lot of cousins. I'm talking like endless Samoans, right? So if I scrap with him, I'm going to need backup. And they're in tag team action tonight. Can I trust a guy who I have history with, who hears voices in his head? Can I tag with Randy Orton? I don't know. Are we going to get along? Are we not going to get along? It'll probably be entertaining either way, right? One guy I'm pretty positive that would tag with me is Randy's partner tonight, and his name is... Yeah. Who else?
Yeah.
Oh. Someone said Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens. That'd be interesting, right? Can I tag with Kevin Owens? Maybe I can fight Kevin Owens. Let's pump the brakes on that one just for a second. Kevin's a little bit prickly, and I mean to say is that him and I are probably too much alike. And I don't know who would feel comfortable working with somebody who randomly just punches people in the face backstage. I mean, it's 2023, ladies and gentlemen. You just can't be doing stuff like that. That's insane. Everybody's happy to see CM Punk, even JBL. Everybody's welcomed me back with open arms. Except for that one guy. There's always that one bad apple that spoils the bunch, am I right? But I'm not going to put any stock in anything he has to say, and it's not because of his whiny voice. It's because he's not even the man in his own household. It's about all he's got is that song, Keep It Up.
You got booed for that.
Oh yeah, we're having fun, and I'm so glad to be back home on this journey with y'all. We're gonna find out exactly where I sign on Monday night. And I'm here to listen to y'all, and I've heard y'all. I'm here to listen to Nick Aldis over the weekend. I got a phone call scheduled with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. I'm gonna talk to him about NXT, and then on Monday night in Cleveland, I'm gonna hear what Adam Pearce has to say. And I promise you I will make my decision then. Almost 10 years to the day in the same town I walked out of this place in. All the men that I have mentioned today have one glaring, painful thing in common, and that's CM Punk is back, and I am the monkey wrench in their future plans and their future goals. Everybody wanting to talk about finishing their story. I'm back to finish what I started. And Monday night, I put pen to paper and begin my journey of finishing my story. And that means one thing. Main eventing WrestleMania.
John CM Punk has put everybody on notice. That's a mic drop moment you're going to be talking about for the next decade.
I like how he swung and hit it out of the park. So that was when you hear it back, it's not controversial. It's calling out. It's addressing storylines, addressing what's going to happen on Raw. And now you anticipate Raw to see what happens. Now, Jey Uso was just asked. He did an interview with the Daily Mail Online, and Jey Uso was asked about the return of CM Punk. And, this is why when CM Punk shouts out Jey Uso, remember he shouted out Shawn Michaels. JBL has said some kind words towards CM Punk recently. Jey Uso, when asked about CM Punk returning to the WWE, he said, and I quote, "I like the guy. He was here 10 years ago and there was never any beef. If you're in this profession, you have to have hard skin and be able to take critique well. You can't get hot about any of this. So CM Punk is invited to my house. It's all love. Let's line it up. I'll do an angle with CM Punk. I'm ready. I'm glad he's back. The last time he was here, I had paint on my face. I am a different Jey Uso these days." So that was Jey Uso talking about CM Punk. Now, Seth Rollins did a podcast called, I think, the Sports Illustrated podcast, I believe. And Seth Rollins was asked about the return of CM Punk appearing at Survivor Series. And Seth Rollins had much less to say about it. But the line that is floating around the net pretty strong right now, you had Seth Rollins saying that CM Punk called me a bootlicker and worse. His disdain for what I stand for, the company I'm loyal to, and the colleagues I respect, he's been more than just a professional disagreement. So, basically the deal is that Seth Rollins took personal a lot of CM Punk's disdain for the WWE. It was interesting, and this is not for a cheap plug, but I brought this up the other day. Kevin and I, when we did the podcast in 2014 and CM Punk walked out and quit, we did 2 weeks back to back, and it was interesting. I know these days getting blocked on Twitter is not a big deal, but we both got blocked from CM Punk back then, and that conversation led to that MMA documentary approaching us about having clips from our show on that documentary, and one of them did make it. But we said back then that, it wasn't just what happened to CM Punk, and we learned about the infection and everything else, but, CM Punk's attitude and the disrespect towards his fellow wrestlers in that company. And something that isn't brought up much anymore, but when I bring it up now, you will absolutely remember this. How many times over the last, 7 years, 8 years? No, I would say 6 or 7 years. How many times over the last 7 years did you hear a wrestler say that I was close with CM Punk and he left and he would not talk to me anymore? I would text him, I would call him, I would leave him a message, and he would never get back to me. I don't know why he's mad at me, but he won't talk to me. That went on for a good 6 or 7 years minimum. So not only, look, did WWE mishandle CM Punk a little bit back then? Absolutely. But CM Punk definitely did not handle his end all that great as well. And he got trashed quite a bit. You see, I brought it up too. You see that picture floating around of the self-destruction of CM Punk, and it's all screenshots when he was in AEW. 9 years ago, Kevin and I did a spoof of that very cover using his screenshots in the WWE. And the funny thing is that the person that made that banner now actually used ours from 9 years ago and just, overlaid some AEW stuff over it. So, listen, Russ, great example, Kofi Kingston. Any of you out there that forgot or maybe were never aware of the relationship that Kofi had with CM Punk, look it up. Look it up. And Kofi, a little frustration there as well. Just stop talking to him. I mean, you do lose track with friends over the years. I mean, I'm not trying to compare me to them, but, as I got into a very serious relationship with my now wife, we've been together for 12 years. And I can tell you over the last bunch of years, I have lost touch with a lot of my friends that I have been friends with my entire life. You get married, some of my friends have families, and you just kind of get distant. But the difference is, you can easily send a DM or a text message or just a quick email, or you even like something that they post on social media. With CM Punk, he just cut the wrestling world and all of his friends off. And, I'm sure that for some of his old-time friends that he's now working with again, I'm sure there's a little bit of hesitation. That's why earlier this year, when he showed up at a WWE show, when they were in Chicago, and the infamous photo of him in the parking lot with Tamina Snuka, or that video, there was reports that CM Punk had hung out with a few, wrestlers that, he had previously kind of burned bridges with. And then Vince McMahon made the call, like, look, I don't think it's good that he's here. And they told him to leave because he was still under AEW contract at the time. But you think, like, back then, maybe there was a little bit of an attempt to repair a bridge. I mean, you're not going to repair it in one day, obviously. But, you see things now, and, look, like Triple H said at that Survivor Series post-media, you change in 10 years. And if you're 10 years older and you haven't changed, then something went wrong. So, people get older, people mature, people make mistakes, people learn from their mistakes. Some people progress, some people regress. So let's hope that CM Punk progresses and not regresses. So, but there you go. I didn't forget about Karrion Kross. Let's just quickly get into the main event of yesterday. And, even though CM Punk was on and is the obvious talk of social media from SmackDown, Randy Orton was there. Randy Orton actually had a match, and we had a couple of fun segments leading up to the match yesterday. First off, Randy Orton fined $50,000 by Nick Aldis for hitting him with the RKO last week. So when Randy Orton gave him a check, wait a minute, this is not $50,000, this is $100,000. So Randy Orton is putting credit on account. Oh no, that other amount is for the future. So when Randy RKO's Nick Aldis again. So that was a funny segment. Interesting. Randy Orton kind of, there was a lot of frustration on social media. I think you're reading too much into it, that Randy Orton did not know much about LA Knight until last week. I don't know what the purpose of acting, because LA Knight has been the mainstay of, SmackDown for quite some time now. And Randy, they want to build that relationship. Last week we talked about it. Randy Orton and LA Knight versus the Bloodline is going to be what Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in the Judgment Day was not too long ago, and then Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes in the Judgment Day was not too long ago. And that's really what they're doing now. So they have to build a little bit of a relationship with LA Knight and Randy Orton. And I got to tell you, when CM Punk bumped into Randy Orton and LA Knight in the back, I know there's that picture floating around from 10 years ago when CM Punk was around WWE ringside and LA Knight was a security guard. And yeah, 10 years later, it's pretty cool to see it come full circle for LA Knight. But that was pretty cool yesterday. CM Punk, he's obviously going to sign with Raw, but he had a couple of quick interactions in the back. You had Nick Aldis give him a contract, review it, look it over. Now, if you think of storyline purposes, remember Randy Orton last week? Adam Pearce went to SmackDown to try to get Randy Orton to sign. Obviously, he signed with SmackDown instead of Raw. But still, Adam Pearson's storyline went to SmackDown to try to woo Randy Orton. Based on yesterday, is Nick Aldis going to appear on Raw? Like, why would you, in storyline, if you want CM Punk on your show, why wouldn't Nick Aldis do what Adam Pearce did last week? So I wonder if Nick Aldis shows up on Raw. I kind of feel storyline purposes, he should be there. We'll wait and see. But Nick Aldis gives CM Punk a proposal yesterday. Look it over, take your time. CM Punk bumps into LA Knight and Randy Orton right before their match, and CM Punk wishes them luck. CM Punk bumps into Kevin Owens. I really cannot see what that shirt is. It looks like a Dusty Rhodes shirt, but I got to find out what that shirt is that Kevin Owens has on. If anybody knows, I would really appreciate it. I'd love to pick up that shirt. I like it. I think it's Dusty Rhodes. It looks like Dusty Rhodes wearing the NWA Championship. I'm just trying to figure out what 1967 has to do with it. I don't know what 1960, unless I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it is Dusty wearing the NWA title. I just don't know what 1967 has to do with it. But you know what? Later on, I'll search Dusty shirt 1967. I'm sure I'll probably find it. So, I know it's. Thank you, everyone. Yes, it is. It is Dusty Rhodes. I probably could even zoom in. Can I zoom in? I probably could even zoom in on, let's see. Yeah, it actually will let me. Usually when I go video, I can't. Yeah, you see American Dream. But what the hell is that 1967? The year he won. I don't think I think maybe that's the year he debuted. That could be the year that he debuted. If Dusty Rhodes was a champion in 1967, and let's even have some fun and just act like he was only 20 years old, that means in 2007, he would have been, well, you know what? That's not out of the question. He would have been 80. No, he would have been, he would have been in his 60s. It's possible. It's possible. It was definitely Dusty Rhodes. So anyway, CM Punk had a little interaction with Kevin Owens. I heard what you said out there. And then we had Cody Rhodes also with CM Punk. Handshake. I wonder if Dave thinks there's some cryptic message there as well. Cody, that was just ridiculous that he thought it was conspiracy because Cody said, welcome back last week. Not everything is conspiracy. Just like, and I have to throw this little dig in there, just because Nick Wayne's mom hitting Edge with the title on Wednesday's Dynamite makes sense because Edge hit the concerto to her son, even though that makes sense, doesn't make it good. Just because things make sense, don't make them good. That's my honest opinion of Wednesday. All right. Thank you, Psycho. Thank you, Michael. Nomad and everybody else, OTS Tribal Queen. By the way, I see a lot of people pushing for OTS Tribal Queen to be a moderator here. I'm not the one that makes that decision. If she wants to be a moderator and have the power to delete or de-eat some of you out there, if she wants it, she can have it. So she's very much appreciated. She's a good friend of JD's and very, very intelligent wrestling fan. She's here. So she was nominated. Yeah, if you want to be moderator, all you got to do is just say, yes, moderate me, DT. Moderate me, damn it. So Randy Orton. Oh, there is something from yesterday. Something I had to show you. JD swears by me. I'm very, very appreciative. Very appreciative. JD's good people, man. I have nothing but respect for that guy. Guy works his ass off, so he's earned everything that he's got. Last night's main event, Randy Orton and LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. We were kind of 2 months late about it, but back in August, we had this conversation that WWE is going to ultimately put boots on Solo Sikoa because Solo Sikoa has had some incidents where he's tweaked his ankle at house shows. And listen, wrestling barefoot, at some point, you got to worry about your well-being, and especially into the road to the Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania, and especially that the Bloodline only consists of 3 members right now, one who is not even there on a part-time basis right now. they have to, try to prevent injury any way you can. There's a reason why wrestlers wear knee pads. There's a reason why wrestlers tape their wrists. There's a reason why they wear elbow pads. There's a reason why you wear boots. Now, Solo Sikoa is very, very comfortable with wrestling barefoot, as is Matt Riddle. But, as I said before, there's going to come a day that Matt Riddle will be wrestling with boots. I know some people, listen, I know why Matt Riddle wrestles barefoot, and it's very, very comfortable. But at some point, there's going to be a time where doctors are going to say, you got to put on boots. So yesterday, Solo Sikoa performed with boots. When Solo Sikoa does run-ins, when he's not wrestling, he's usually wearing shoes, everyone. It's not like he goes to Outback and is barefoot. It's not like he goes he doesn't go to someone's wedding and, doesn't even just wears dress socks. He does wear shoes. But he wore boots yesterday, and it didn't help him because in the end, Randy Orton and LA Knight beat Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. I think the big buzz coming out of this, LA Knight went for the blunt force trauma on Jimmy. Randy Orton RKO'd Jimmy instead. Randy got the pin. And if you look at LA Knight's like, all right. But LA Knight was going for the blunt force trauma and was going to go for the pin. Randy hit him with the RKO. Now, I'm assuming that Randy was the legal man in the ring, so I don't know how LA Knight would have been able to pin Jimmy Uso, but LA Knight still was going for the blunt force trauma, and Randy hit the RKO instead. So will that come into play next week? It is possible. Maybe they tease a little bit of issue between Randy and LA Knight. I don't think you have to read into that at all because the bigger picture is they need some big names to feud with the Bloodline. That's why I think, truthfully, AJ Styles will be back very, very soon. Any week now. But I'm not going to come up here for 5 weeks in a row and then say, yeah, I told you. It's happening. He's needed. So that was pretty much your episode of SmackDown yesterday. Now, before we start bringing this home, I want to get into something big with TNA. I think it's a little bit of a bigger story than you think. It has to do with their streaming service. WWE indirectly has a tie to this. And I looked at the SEC filing for something from earlier this year that's very interesting. I'll share with you in a moment. By the way, I don't know if this shirt's going to be on sale, but I don't see any WWE logo on it. Usually see a visible logo, even that little sewed patch in the corner. But Grayson Waller now has a shirt that says Grayson 316, I just broke your hand. I don't think this is a shirt they're going to put on sale because Kevin Owens' hand is not going to be broken for all that long, but I actually would consider buying that shirt, man. I would legit consider buying that shirt. I kind of like it. I used to love the 316 shirts. I still can't get over the response that I got from Wednesday was funny. There's a guy, I would love to share it. I feel bad for the guy because he is truly a big supporter of Powerhouse Hobbs. But if you want to go see it for yourself, go on Twitter and just search Powerhouse Hobbs shirt and it'll come up immediately. There's a guy that I know, very, very good guy, wrestling fan, hardcore AEW fan, white, neckbeard. He bought Powerhouse Hobbs's big, black, and jacked shirt. My friends, I wouldn't even go into the desert as a fat, white Italian guy going to in public and wearing a shirt that says, I'm big, black, and jacked. I could only imagine, especially I live 5 minutes from Brooklyn, going into Erskine Street at the mall over here and then seeing a whole bunch of homies from the neighborhood and they're like, fuck this white guy wearing his big black and jack shirt. What's that? How do you explain that? It's just like, how do you explain the Britt Baker shirt with the bloody nose? You wear that in public. It looks like you're condoning women's violence. I told you that shirt would get pulled. Then even the Becky Lynch shirt, even the Becky shirt when she was bleeding, at least WWE had some, text with it to try to put it in perspective. But to just walk around as a fat white guy with neck beard and you're wearing a shirt that says I'm big, blacked, and jacked, I mean, I don't know if I would have put that shirt on sale. You're really alienating a good part of your demo, to be honest with you. See, I have the Prince Nana shirt. I got to wear it on the show, but I won't wear it on the show until I, master everything. And, when I master his dance, then, I'll come up here and do it. So, all right. Let me talk quickly about Karrion Kross. A couple of super shout-outs. We'll finish up with TNA and get out of here. Because I have an African Grey that's going to be causing a little chaos today in his house. And you saw the dog at the beginning of the show. Big shout-out to Steve Joseph. Thank you for the 2 spots, Steve. I thought Karrion Kross was supposed to be repackaged. Longer hair, more tattoos, little physique. His offense is a little different. They have to reintroduce Karrion Kross to the main roster. They have to reintroduce him. Everybody knows who he is. It was funny. I actually saw a couple of people who matter in the media world saying yesterday that Karrion Kross needs to shave his head and go back to the natural born killers look. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, at least now, he's got a little bit of a look about him. You don't want, him with a shaved head. He spent a long time growing that hair. And honestly, hair is the least, I think, of any wrestler's problem right now. They're reintroducing him to the roster. At least he got his promo yesterday. What I was worried, listen, when I showed you that Bobby Lashley video backstage yesterday with the Street Profits, WWE is going to handle the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley different going forward. I don't know how BFAB will play into this still, but everybody is believing that WWE realizes that these are not the guys to keep as a heel. Not needed. So maybe you do bring back Azam and Akam and Rizar. And people think that they're on their way back. Push Indus Shear a little bit further. You don't need these guys to be heels right now. And when you saw the way they presented Bobby Lashley, reminding everyone his military service, his promo, that backstage, you're saying there ain't no way he's losing to Karrion Kross. In fact, next week he takes on Santos Escobar. Some people think that Karrion Kross could go further. I think it's going to come down to Kevin Owens versus Santos. I think that is a very big possibility because right now, this is what the tournament looks like for anybody that's interested, because next week we're getting a couple of matches too. Where is the tournament brackets? I know I have them here. Hopefully, here they are. Here they are. Santos takes on Bobby Lashley, and the winner of that goes to the finals. On the opposite side, Grayson Waller will be taking on an NXT star next week. Some people think it's going to be Carmelo Hayes. Be very interesting if it's Carmelo Hayes. Could they end up with Carmelo Hayes versus Bobby Lashley to determine number one contender? I don't think so. I think, my opinion, Grayson Waller defeats whoever shows up from NXT next week, whether it's Axiom or whoever it is. Grayson Waller advances. Kevin Owens advances on Austin Theory. I know some of you would love to see Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory. That would be kind of interesting. But Kevin Owens, in my opinion, is winning this tournament. So I have a feeling next week, the week after, Santos Escobar beats Bobby Lashley. And then ultimately, Kevin Owens beats Grayson Waller. Kevin Owens would have beaten Austin Theory. Kevin Owens would have beaten Grayson Waller. And then Kevin Owens will ultimately beat Santos Escobar and then becomes the number one contender for the United States Championship. Nobody does tournament predictions better than me. Let's be honest. But Karrion Kross, if he would have come out yesterday with no intro, and we would just come back from commercial and he's in the ring, then I would have been like, oh, fuck. They gave him the full-blown intro yesterday. So they're reintroducing him to the roster. Look, it wasn't too long ago that we had a Xia Li video package. It wasn't too long ago, they did a video package for Indy Hartwell. I mean, we had video packages earlier this year for both of them. They're reintroducing. So Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox. It hasn't been that long since Tegan Nox was supposed to take on Becky. And then it didn't happen. And then Natty wanted the shot. Remember when Natty was acting like a bitch and now suddenly they're chummy, like Laverne and Shirley? But that wasn't that long ago. And then I think last week we got another video package of Tegan Knox. Like we saw this. So they're reintroducing Karrion Kross to the roster again. Sticky Fingers Frank, thank you for the 10 spot. I legit laughed out loud at your thumbnail. All we need is Dixie to spit the mist in Tony Khan's eyes. I wrote it earlier. I'm going to grab a screenshot of Shinsuke spitting the mist in Cody's eyes, and I'm going to make one. I'm going to make one of Dixie Carter spitting the mist. I just got to find the right pose for Dixie. The mist is easy. There's PNG files of just mist, spray paint that you could just download, and it looks like mist in somebody's face. I got to find a picture of Tony Khan that's like this. I think there is one. Any of you ever saw the picture of CM Punk choking Tony Khan? I mean, that wasn't from All Out or All In. You know, some people clickbaited it and made, oh, look, CM Punk attacks Tony Khan backstage, and they showed that screenshot. That was a tongue-in-cheek picture from a couple of years ago. But that picture of Tony Khan and the way he looked, that would be perfect to put fake mist all over his face. Didn't Muda show up once in AEW and spit mist? I feel like it happened. I hope that it happened. Did Muda show up once and spit mist in AEW, or is this like kind of like that Sinbad movie that we all are convinced that we saw back in the 90s? That any of you know what I'm talking about? What's the name of that Sinbad movie? Aladdin, I think it was called. I think it was Aladdin. Any of you out there that don't know what I'm talking about, look up Sinbad movie, Aladdin. And Shazam, thank you, Josh. Shazam. I am convinced I saw this. Convinced I saw a commercial for the movie in the 90s, and it's a movie that never existed. And there's tens of millions of people that are convinced they either saw the video trailer or saw the movie Shazam starring Sinbad, and it's never happened. It's never been in existence. So you did not see it. We did not see it. There is a bad porn spoofing this. There's a bad porn that came out, I think, 2 or 3 years ago spoofing this. If you're over 18, you could go look it up. All right. Steve Joseph with a 5 spot. Thank you, Steve. I would actually think AEW is going to fire Jack Perry, one of the 4 pillars. Oh, you actually think, I got to say it the right way. DT, you actually think AEW is going to fire Jack Perry, one of the 4 pillars, who is young and in his prime, and in his opinion, that would never going to happen. Listen, the 4 pillars thing is something that some people put up online. All right. But at the end of the day, Jack Perry's future is not WWE, and that's it. Anybody could leave at any time, especially when their contracts are up. If somebody's in enough demand and they're willing to pay WWE, they will make the jump. Just because you're a pillar, you know, that's a phrase, a figure of speech. They're not glued into WWE. This isn't an all-elite mafia that if you try to leave, you get whacked. Jack Perry is not as big as people portray it to be. You could give him Ray-Bans. You could give him a leather jacket. You could do whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's still Jack Perry. He just trademarked Jungle Boy on Tuesday. This Tuesday, Jack Perry trademarked Jungle Boy. Obviously, he's trademarking it because he thinks he's going to have to use it in the near future. So, you know, he probably thinks that that's where he may make most of his money. Don't know. Could be diversion. Could be just to protect his intellectual property in the future. But no, I think anybody could be fired at any time. I don't think anybody is, unless it's somebody really, really, you know, powerful backstage or has power with a lot of people backstage. So Chris Cutro with the 5 spot. I need an episode of a ride along with Punk and Miz. You know, I watched recently that screenshot of Bryan Danielson in the car, I think with Britt Baker and CM Punk and somebody else. And I'm like, you know, that kind of has piqued my interest a little bit. WWE should bring back the ride-alongs. I'm sure they've done one once in a while, but you know what? A lot of their stuff was backstage, and I would not bring that back up. I don't think Miz and Punk should have a feud on camera. I think you just have a backstage segment, and I don't even think everybody's even going to know. A lot of younger fans have no idea what happened with Punk and Miz. And that Saudi Arabia comment, not too long. I don't think a lot of people, they're not into the dirt sheets like we all are. I think there's just going to be, CM Punk is going to be walking in the back, and then he's going to look over, and it's going to be The Miz. Or The Miz is going to be walking in the back, and he's going to look over, and it's going to be CM Punk. And there's going to be a handshake. And that's the end of it. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think the drama in the past is something that you want to rehash on camera. I don't think it doesn't benefit anybody. It really doesn't benefit anybody. Yeah, Rick says about Jack Perry, what a devilish thing for him to do, to trademark Jungle Boy. I think every wrestler in AEW that has a nickname or character name should be trademarking their shit, because AEW is not. And if something takes off in the future, you don't want to be you want to control your shit. Trademarking, when I did it for ECW, cost me, I think, like $600, and I ended up abandoning it. But, I can't see how it would cost that much more to do right now. Like if I'm Luchasaurus, I trademark Kill Switch. I trademark whatever I can. By the way, on Monday, I will give you the update as far as WWE and the Yeet situation. WWE, let me put it this way. Somebody in wrestling did trademark it or file for a trademark a couple of years ago. That person was contesting it. I heard from someone that I trust is that the person was willing to work out a deal with WWE. Problem is, some people, it's kind of like if you get into a minor car accident and you think that you're going to find a lawyer that's going to sue for millions. Like, this guy thinks he's going to break the bank. I don't think WWE is going, or TKO Group Holdings is going to break the bank so they could have Yeet. The fans could still chant it. Jey Uso could be doing this. He doesn't have to say it, and everybody's going, Yeet, Yeet, Yeet. But honestly, if I trademark that and WWE gives me a decent offer, I take it. As long as you're allowed to still use it to a certain extent. Now, I don't think this wrestler, his career would be killed by not using it. See, like me, like with Don Tony, I already filed for trademarks for Don Tony. I already filed applications this year for Don Tony. So if NXT or WWE ever decided to try to trademark Don Tony for Tony D'Angelo, I blocked that shit. So, all right, let's start wrapping this up. John Poirier. Did I say that right? Poirier? Not Perrier, but Poirier. Eat cheese today, red velvet, or carrot cake? I have not eaten anything yet today. I've only had coffee. I woke up late, fed this dog, fed the wife. Some of you think I was going to say the other dog. No, she's not. And came here, prepared for the show. So I will probably eat cheese later on. I'm still on keto. Red velvet or carrot cake? That is crazy. Carrot cake forever was my favorite cake to eat. Anybody remember that brand? I don't remember it right now. Something Farms. Back in the 70s and the 80s, there was a brand that you would buy in the frozen food section in your supermarket. It was an orangey, brownish brand, and it was carrot cake. And you would buy it, and it'd be a square block, and it would be like 2 inches high of cream cheese. And I would eat the whole thing. One year, I swear on a stack of Bibles, I'll never do another show again if I'm lying. 1 year, as a gag, I bought my father like 2 or 3 boxes of the carrot cake. I wrapped it up, I put a bow on it, and gave it to him for Christmas. But red velvet, the last couple of years, I'm not kidding. Right now inside, I have red velvet keto cake that you can mix an egg and like 2 tablespoons of butter and make red velvet cake out of it. And I have Philadelphia cream cheese too, but I haven't made it yet. But right now, because I'm on keto, I would go with red velvet cake. But as in my lifetime, carrot cake has been number one Hasn't even been close. It's not Petridge Farms. It's a company that's out of business now. You do a Google image search and you check out 1970s carrot cake or 1980s carrot cake, you'll see it. It's a square box, and it was famous. Everybody went fucking nuts for that carrot cake. I don't know how it went out of business. I don't know how, unless maybe the owner just died and the son was just like a drug addict, and instead of just keeping the business like Purdue, he just decided, you know what, let me just sell it so I could buy crack. Like that was like crack. That carrot cake, it's really, really good shit. You know what? Tomorrow on the sit down, we'll be live, and tomorrow I'll reveal the name of the cake. I'll do a Google search later on. We're not going to Google search anything right now. We Googled Brian Pillman's, breasts, his chin. His chin looks like a pair of tits. I mean, am I wrong? Seriously, we looked at Kathy Kelly earlier. Do we revisit it one more time? I think we revisit it one more time. I like it. Wait. Let's hold on.
This was amazing.
This is the United States
Hold on,
Army.
I'm finding it.
But
Thank you for having us. This was a-
do best.
There you go. Okay. Seriously, we'll close out with this. Tell me, seriously, I'm a big fan of Kathy Kelly. This is not trying to be perverted or anything. She wore the outfit. She's beautiful. She knows it. She flaunts it. She's proud of it. Nothing wrong with that. But there's no way you're going to tell me that Brian Pillman Jr.'s beard, seriously, if he dyed that like the color of her jacket, it looks like a pair of breasts. Everybody says it looks like a Batman logo. It looks like a pair of tits. Come on, it looks like a pair of droopy tits. Kathy Kelly is beautiful. She arguably listen, her and Kayla Braxton are very, very, not only attractive, but they're very classy, and you don't hear anything bad about them. I think back to that little incident I had with Kayla Braxton like 6-7 years ago, and I feel awful for it. Anybody remember the 7-Eleven story? I felt awful for doing that. For some reason, I can't find where to take this off the screen. There we go. I know people are like, no, we don't need to see you. We don't need to see you in your gabagol. But you look even like the NXT women's roster. Like, back in the 2000s, the mid-2000s, when John Laurinaitis was really, really like, close to his peak position behind the scenes in WWE. They brought in the Amy Webbers and the Candice Michelles and the other women at that time. A lot of the reports, and it's legit, you could ask around, is that John Laurinaitis would look at model magazines and he would be interested in some of the women just based on how they looked in a model magazine. And they brought in a bunch of women. Some of them had no wrestling background. They had no business being there. But, as years went by, women's wrestling is not about eye candy anymore. It's about ability, opportunity and dedication and hard work. But, I invite anyone, go on NXT's website at WWE.com and just type in the NXT women's roster. And honestly, if fucking, who's the guy who used to do the beauty pageants? Anybody remember? If you could dig him up from the grave, you could legitimately have like a Miss Florida beauty pageant and just feature nothing but NXT women. And I'm not kidding either. Hey, you could have Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey. Come on. We know what happened with Steve Harvey. You could have Steve Harvey moderate. They should do that. Would people get pissed? I'll leave you with this. Would people get pissed if they did a Miss NXT? Ariana Grace, that's her character. That's her character in NXT. She's beauty pageant. If they did a Miss NXT, would people be offended by that? Because you look at that NXT women's roster, I mean, honestly, I know this sounds superficial, but is anybody busted? I don't think so. Everybody looks like, model material. But the cool thing about it is they all wrestle pretty damn fucking good. Some people are much more developed than others, but everybody backs it up in the ring. So you got the looks and you got the ability on top of it. But, you know, that roster, you look at it, I mean, everybody looks almost perfect with the way they look. You know, it's not just makeup. So, all right. I think we could, we do have one more thing to get into. We do have one more thing. So, you know, we will close at exactly 2 hours. We must talk briefly about TNA. I know a lot of you know about their, was it Impact Plus subscription that they have where you could, I actually subscribed one time for a little while when I was doing my history shows. That's where I got to download some of the matches and cap the audio for the history shows. But there is going to be a change in January. If you are and I'm sure by now you have gotten the email, if you are a member of their streaming service for their library, it will no longer be as of January 5th. Check out this press release that TNA put out yesterday. And then I'm going to show you something from TKO Group Holdings, which to me makes this very, very fascinating. TNA says yesterday, listen closely. Listen to the wording, especially. TNA Wrestling, a subsidiary of Anthem Sports and Entertainment and a division of Anthem Sports Group, has partnered with Endeavor Streaming, that Endeavor, to deliver its global on-demand streaming service, TNA Plus, for its passionate fans, and it will be launching Friday, January 5th. As part of a multi-year deal, Endeavor Streaming will power the new TNA Plus app to deliver an enhanced user experience to all fans across the streaming platforms as well as mobile and connected devices. The partnership combines TNA's expertise as a top professional wrestling promoter with Endeavor Streaming's unparalleled knowledge in delivering innovative direct-to-consumer offerings, marketing tools, analytics, and predictive modeling. TNA Plus will leverage Endeavor's experience working with the world's biggest sports organizations, WWE, to scale TNA's business operations and further grow its fan base and digital revenues. In addition to reclaiming the iconic TNA moniker, the TNA Plus app is relaunching with an all-new dynamic look, as well as expanded options and increased functionality. The app puts the power back in the fans' hands, delivering the ultimate premium experience that they could stream the company's flagship weekly TV show, and tune into exciting pay-per-view events. View TNA's full archive, get exclusive original content and wrestler-created series, and even have the chance to interact with some of TNA's top stars. TNA Plus will be available on TNAWrestling.com via iOS, TV operating systems, Android media apps, as well as big screen devices such as Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku, with more platforms to follow. Subscribers will have the choice of a special attraction membership tier that features the full TNA Impact Wrestling library and TNA Special Plus pay-per-view programming, other than the four tent-pole annual events offered at a price of $9.99 monthly or $95.99 a year, and a World Championship membership tier that includes all the perks of the special attraction tier, plus the 4 tent-pole pay-per-view events. That's like their big four. Like with WWE Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam. Offered at a price of $219.99 per year. Now, weekly TV and pay-per-view. What is going to happen with Access TV and Impact Wrestling? If this is going to give you the opportunity to watch weekly TV on the app, The ratings lately have been under 70,000, 80,000 viewers. We talked about it earlier this week. Their ratings on Access are pathetic right now. So now, basically, if you're going to offer a service where you could watch the weekly TV on the app, I mean, the ratings with Access TV, you might as well just forget about anybody reporting them anymore. And it really will not be an easy number to determine because so many people would be tuning. It's almost like when you used to watch NXT on Peacock. No, was it Peacock? No, I think it was available on the WWE Network. I don't remember if it was available only on Peacock, but on the WWE Network. NXT at one point was not on the USA Network. You had to watch it through online. So it's going to be really, really hard to determine numbers. But the thing that fascinates me is that it's Endeavor streaming. Endeavor streaming. For those on video, I invite you to look at your screen right now. Let me enlarge this. And I feel a sneeze coming. You're going to have to forgive me for a second. I muted it. That's like this, seventh time in 26 years I sneezed live on a show. I'm allergic to work. On the screen right now is from an SEC filing that TKO Group Holdings issued earlier this year, I should say, with regards to buying WWE stock. TKO Group Holdings, WWE stock. And the thing is that when you post risk factors, what that is in simple, unprofessional language is if you want to buy a stock, you want to buy stock in a company, they're not just saying buy us because we're good and we're making money. They file and you do research and you read about the company and you read what could cause the revenue to go up, what could cause the revenue to go down. There's risk involved when you invest in the stock market. So when TKO Group Holdings, had launched their stock, which used to be WWE, they do an SEC filing. And if you or anyone out there is thinking about investing in stock, TKO Group Holdings, you want to read what, looking forward, what they anticipate, what they foresee, what they want to do. They also tell you what could hurt the company. And then you make an educated decision like, you know what? I think the company's going to grow anyway. I don't think this stuff is going to hold it back. I'm going to invest money anyway in the stock. So now you go back to here and you look at the risk factors. And they're telling potential stockholders like you and I or anybody else, it says investing in our Class A common stock involves substantial risks. You should carefully consider the following factors, together with all the other information included in its perspectives, including under the following. And then they go on for pages and pages and pages. And they tell you what could hurt TKO Group Holdings, WWE. Well, we get to hear. This was in their list of risk factors from earlier this year. And it says, and I quote, "The markets in which we operate are highly competitive, rapidly changing, and increasingly fragmented, both within the United States and internationally, and we may not be able to compete effectively, which could adversely affect our operating results," meaning that these companies could fuck us up a little bit. So when they list the companies, this is what they list. We face competition from a variety of other domestic and foreign companies. We also face competition from alternative providers of the content and events that we offer, including Bellator, M1, Global Professional Fighters League, Combat Global, Invicta FC, Cage Warriors, AMC Fight Nights, One Championship, Rizzo, blah, 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 blah. Then they get to professional wrestling, and they say that could adversely affect them. All Elite Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and other forms of media, entertainment, and leisure activities in a rapidly changing and increasingly fragmented environment. Other new and existing professional wrestling leagues also compete with our goods and services. For the sale of our consumer products, we compete with entertainment companies, professional and college sports leagues, and other makers of branded apparel and merchandise, i.e., guys, the belts that you see every week for the NFL. Any increased competition, which may not be foreseeable, or our failure to adequately address any competitive factors, could result in a reduced demand for our content, our live events, our brand, or could have an adverse effect on our business, financial condition, and results of operations. So I asked the question, couldn't this hurt WWE? I'm spending $219.99 a year for TNA Plus. I don't have the money to buy WWE. I don't have the money to buy Peacock. I don't have the money to go to a show. Maybe I won't buy that big, well, that's AEW. I wouldn't buy that new CM Punk shirt that's on sale. Doesn't this sound like Endeavor is making a deal with a company that could adversely affect TKO Group Holdings? Or are we going to get an announcement in the near future that Impact Wrestling and WWE may be working out a little bit of a business relationship, maybe even further than that? Endeavor Streaming offering a subscription service to pay for wrestling that is not WWE. If I'm an investor in TKO Group Holdings, wouldn't I be kind of angry right now at Endeavor? Like, the fuck are you doing a deal with TNA Plus? You could hurt WWE. I'm just posing the question, because with all due respect, 99.9% of the shows out there, they're just going to read you the press release. Exciting. And then that's it. They're not going to put two and two together. They're not going to look at it like this. They're not in the business world. But I'm telling you, this is fascinating. Not only because of the weekly TV, but the fact that it's Endeavor Streaming. Endeavor Streaming. I got to see either next week or maybe the first or second week of January, after the first burst of subscriptions come in, I want to see TKO Group Holdings stock and if there's any reaction to that price. Or maybe between now and the middle of January, we may hear some type of an announcement with Impact Wrestling, TNA, and WWE. Not necessarily merge, not saying that, not a merger and acquisition, but I think something else is going on. Because you look at this SEC filing, if I want to invest in WWE, why would I be happy? Why would I be happy with that? Why? This is not TKO Group Holdings working out the deal. This is Endeavor. Something for you all to think about. I know there's some of you out there that do find this interesting, but we will see. And I'm telling you, if something else comes out, you heard our discussion here. So, all right. With that said, we are at 2 hours. I'm going to jet out of here. I got to now get ready because within the next hour, I will be bird sitting for the next 8 days. My parents are going to Florida. My mom just had surgery, having a pacemaker replaced. My dad had surgery on his bladder a couple of weeks ago. So they want to go for 7 days and relax. So I'm going to be bird sitting and dog sitting, which is going to be interesting because we've never done that before. It's either been one or the other. And my bird, it's weird because my bird has a tendency that when my brother used to visit my parents and used to bring his dog over, my African gray, which I know a lot of you have seen, what he likes to do is while he's in his cage, I swear to God, I'm going to record footage if he does it. He takes his foot and he puts his foot in his dish of birdseed. He grabs it and he throws it at the dog. So we don't know if he's throwing it at the dog because he doesn't like the dog or if he's throwing food wanting the dog to eat it. So that's when I'm worried later that even if I have the bird locked in the cage, and my African gray, he's got balls, man. He'll put his head down and want my wife's dog to come up to him, acting like all lovey, and then he'll bite. He'll bite. But, I got to worry about, because birdseed is not safe for dogs. But I'm worried that the bird is going to see the dog and be like, hey, and start throwing birdseed at him. So tomorrow when we do the sit down, we'll definitely talk about that, I'm sure, and a few other things. And OTS Tribal Queen, did you decide yet? Do you wish to be a moderator here? Do we finish the show? Does she become an official member of the family? Do we put her in timeout? Do we block her and say, fuck you and your JD crew? No. Don't feel like you have to. There's no pay. I mean, lucky if I make 3 digits here on YouTube. But, if you ever decide you want to be a moderator, you're more than welcome to. I trust you. Everybody here likes you. And, somebody that is a smart wrestling fan, always appreciated. Chaos does a great job here. Austin does a great job here. And, we have to be careful when we mod, because sometimes, I did this. I made this mistake back in the Mixler days. I gave somebody who was one of our patrons the authority of being a mod, and this guy just went on a blocking frenzy. And then I had someone else who I gave to be a mod, and then because we were in a group of like 10 people that we always talked to and hung out, everybody else was like, why can't I moderate, or why can't I moderate? So, we go off the air. OTS Tribal Queen, you are officially a moderator here. Just don't block me. Don't block me. Guys, it's been real. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And I will be here live tomorrow for the sit down. We'll be back Monday for your Raw recap. And I think by the middle of next week, we could start making a couple of small announcements as far as what's going to be changing with the shows in 2024. Something that's going to be consolidated, and there may be an interesting programming change. Don't want to make any promises yet, but something that quite a few of you have been asking for a while may be happening. It's not 100%. But we will, by next week, we should have some announcement. And I will tell you this. Any changes that are going to happen are going to go into effect 1/1/24, which is a Monday night. January 1st, 2024. Any changes that are going to be happening will go into effect that day. So I will give a hint. This channel's not going anywhere as far as video goes. It may be streamlined a little bit, but it's definitely not going anywhere. So I don't want anybody to think. I don't want like 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, OTS Tribal Queen is like, this motherfucker made me a moderator and then he got rid of his channel. The fuck was that all about? So no, we're still going to be around here, but we're going to be streamlining it. Maybe do 1 or 2 shows a week on video only, but to be discussed. To be discussed. Have a good one, everyone. Much love.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's alright. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.